In this section, I'm going to be breaking down my winning it in game versus JD the Killer for the Carolina Panthers Club Series. For the Carolina Panthers Club Series. And this is the biggest tournament of the year every year. Again, the winner of this tournament gets $150,000. Again, this game right here is to get into the final 64 of that tournament. And the winner of just the club alone can get $7,500. So this is a really big game right here. And this is actually the second game we played. So we played earlier in single limbs, and again, it's a double elimination tournament. So again, he came out of the losers bracket. I came out of the winners bracket for this club. So again, I already have a good idea of kind of what he wants to do, but uh, he actually he actually switched defenses. So I played really good defense versus him. I played really good offense versus him in our first game. And so right here, he completely changes it up on me and comes on a completely different defense I am not expecting at all. But that's okay. Again, all I'm using here is again our problem solving model. So first play here. Again, I was kind of expecting cover two because of the pre-snap look, but again, so that's why I called this play right here. I don't know why I expected it to be cover two. Again, it was just kind of a educated guess because usually when someone is backed off, like a competitive player has their coverage backed off like this. Again, they want to run. I don't expect anybody to run cover four backed off. Because cover four is going to be a lot better with the DBs press at the line. Again, they're going to play your crossers and corner routes a lot better. So again, there's really no reason to play cover four backed off. But there is a good reason to play cover two backed off because it will help prevent these fade passes. But not really, though. You can still fit in these fades. So that was kind of my pre-snap read here. And here when I snap the ball, I'm going to be looking at the right half of the field first because, again, I am expecting it to be cover two. And I'm setting up, again, a little cover two beater. Again, we go over that a lot more in the rock home development course. But these outside fades are going to be really good versus cover two usually. Again, it is cover two. But I guess since the guy is backed off, he does do a good job of defending this deep right third of the field. So the deep right part of the field is usually open versus cover two. And again, I saw post snap because again we looked at the outside corner, we looked at the strong safety, and again it was 1000% cover two. But his deep half actually played this extremely well. I don't know how. I guess it's because again the outside cornerback was backed off, so it kind of helped prevent the fade. But again, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's because I ran a post over the middle of the field too, and the strong safety, uh, you know, kind of bit in the middle of the field. Again, I'm not entirely sure, but again, we gotta accept it for what it is, and make the proper adjustments here. So again, at the snap of the ball, we want to take a quick glance. Outside cornerback and strong safety. Again, we saw the cornerback is in a flat zone. We see the strong safety is in a deep half. So, again, for whatever reason, I can't throw this fade versus cover two. But again, take advantage of when you get sacked on a play like this. Take advantage of the camera showing the full field here. So, again, as soon as this play is over, you should be taking a look at the entire field, taking a look at that other half of the field. So, again, at the snap of the ball, again, we get that quick glance of one half of the field, but again, after the play is over, that's when we can get the full story here of what exactly is going on in this defense. So again, we see here once we get sacked that it is indeed cover two, as again we see the outside cornerback is in a flat. We see the free safety is in a deep half as well. So again, it is cover two, and so we know that the deep middle of the field is going to be the weakness, the biggest weakness of cover two here. Oh, also one more thing I want to point out is I believe we're gonna notice just because we first glance at the outside cornerback, so we notice that he's also taking the slot cornerback and manning him up on Y. So again, that's going to be critical because the reason he's doing that is one of the main cover two beaters in trips tight end is the verticals play. And by manning up wide, that's going to take away that cover two beater down the seam. So again, we're going to have to adjust on the fly a little bit. We're not going to have our usual cover two beater to beat this. And again, cover two is weak, usually on the deep outside and the deep middle. Again, he took away the deep outside, so again, I'm going to be looking towards more after this play, towards the deep middle of the field. Uh, Here I was trying to go back to it a little bit because again I was caught off guard by how well the deep half played the outside fade. So that's why you saw me go back to it. But here again, this is where we're gonna adjust on the fly. This is where we say, okay, we know it's cover two. We know the deep middle of the field is gonna be weak here, and we know we have to send a route down the deep middle to attack this defense. But the trick is with the defense that he's doing, he's taking his slot cornerback and manning him up on Y. So we have to attack the deep middle without the wide receiver. So again, I do not have any cover two beaters kind of predetermined versus cover two without that verticals fade. So again, usually my common cover two beaters are the outside fade, and then I would call verticals because Y bombs it down the seam. So again, we have to kind of think outside the box just a little bit here and problem solve and say, okay, you don't want me to bomb cover two down the D middle with Y. That's fine. So again, we're going to use circle here instead to try to bomb this cover two because again, we looked at the defense, we determined. We're visualizing the defense. We're seeing that it's a cover two look, and that's all about again attacking the open spaces on the field. And we know one of the open spaces is that deep middle. Again, one of those 9 spaces. So, and again, and we're going to utilize concepts that we learned from the route combo development course to kind of bomb this deep. And again, you're going to see that the middle of the field is just going to get wide open here. Again, deep middle. We were eyeing down this deep middle the whole time after we determined it was covered two, and he was able to take away my deep outside. So again, we look to attack down this deep middle, and again, it's wide open here, but again, he does get a throw at a sack. Again, this guy is going to be open for a 1,000% touch on there. Unfortunately, we do get the throw at a sack, but still kind of a good example to show. Unfortunately for him, he was able to get the shed on this play. The heck? So we're actually going to get the ball back pretty quickly here. He does end up throwing a pick. So we're going to, and here I just kind of caught a little different play. So again, we see here that post snap that he's running a little, he's starting to mix in a little cover three now. Again, as we see on that right side. We see the outside third, and then we see he has kind of like a hard flat. No, that's not a. So he has 2 flat zones dedicated towards the right side of the field. Again, we see the outside cornerback at the snap. He's going to be an outside third. And we see the strong safety again. He's like in an inside third. So again, he's starting to now mix in, a little cover three. Again, my first read on the field was again this right half of the field, and as always too, he's still manning up Y. Again, that's going to be a key component. Again, he basically does that the entire game. So we saw that as well. And I don't know what the zone was on the right, but he actually did a really good job of taking away that curve out on the right side of the field here. So, but from what I've noticed, again, you got to kind of take into consideration the trends over the course of the game. And so far, this game from JD, all I've seen is mainly cover. Besides that last play, all I've seen so far this game is mainly cover two. So on three of the 4 plays, something like that, it's been all cover two so far. So again, I'm kind of expecting him to go back to it, considering that's been his play calls on at least 75% of the play calls this game. So again, here on a 3rd and 1, I'm expecting him to go back to the cover two. And again, so we're we're going to utilize a concept again that really works the deep outsides and deep middles of the field. Again, basically just flood the deep portions of the field here. And again, he does go back to that cover two, and we actually have again. I was throwing it to this outside, so this guy is getting a really good shed right now. But as you're gonna see, again, we cook up a perfect play for him. So again, we know we've been watching post snap again. It's been basically all cover two besides that one play. Again, then it's about knowing the open spaces on the field. And we know that those deep outsides and deep middles are usually going to be open versus cover two. So that's what we hit him with there. Again, we send a route to the open space of the field. Again, look at Y here. It's going to be wide open here with the pass lead out. Again, we call the perfect play. We anticipated correctly. Again, just basing it off of his previous play calls. Again, get pretty unfortunate here with the throw to second. Again, he's just super shedding me right here. And he's actually going to be the one that's pretty mad in this play. I think I don't know if he's setting up a different defense or he's making subs. Either that or it's like a frustration pause right here. But on this 4th and 1, I don't know if I'm probably not gonna risk going for the deep cover two beater here, because I expect JD to have seen that outside fade was open. So I think I'm gonna look to work a little bit underneath here, from what I remember. So again, another thing we noticed from that last play was, again, he left. I actually did not like. Okay, I actually did not like this play call, because I understand why I did it, because again, you want to have the two fades, again, seam streaks and outside fades versus cover two. I like that. But the thing is, like, this post route and seam streak are going to get kind of close to each other. So it might be pretty easy for him to kind of run with the seam streak, then go to the post. And then one of the strengths of cover two, and basically what he's ran so far all game, is being able to kind of guard these underneath routes. And his hook zones were playing usually, in routes are really good versus like cover twos, but for whatever reason, his hook zones were playing really glitchy this game and really doing a good job of following my drag routes and in routes. So I wasn't a huge fan of this play call, but I kind of get it because he did run a lot of cover two. So, and again, the seam routes are really good versus cover two down the deep middle. But he mixes it up here. He goes with a man blitz. Again, it ends up working out for us here, though, and we're able to catch this post on the backside. So far, I mean, he's shown us, 80% cover two, and now he's mixed in like a man blitz, and a cover three type of look. So again, another thing to note here is post snap here. I noticed that when he's on his free safety here, we gotta know for the next time that he's doing a man blitz. Again, this was pretty obvious here that it. Okay, so I get this now. So yeah, I didn't point this out before, but again, when he came on his free safety here, I was 90% sure this was not cover two, because no one's gonna run cover two with an outside cloud fat and use their free safety again unless you're a maniac. So I knew it had to have been like some sort of aggressive blitz type of look. So again, we gotta store this information for later in the game too, because again, he was not using the free safety like this when he was running cover two or that cover three type of look. So again, I don't believe he ever does come back to this, but again, this is something you want to be paying attention to though for later in the game, because this is a tell for if he's going to do a man blitz, he's probably going to be on this free safety. So that's kind of the information we collected there, and that's why I kind of ran this play, because the in route will do a good job versus man, get a couple yards of separation. This backside post will get open versus man as well. Delete that 1st and 10 clutch. And right here now in that the 2nd and 17. So what JD has been doing the entire game is manning up his slot cornerback onto my slot receiver here, or Y. So what I started to do versus a little bit was I would motion over uh, or triangle here on a streak, or Y if you're an Xbox. But the reason he's manning up Y from the start is because I run like a good bit of X spot, and X spot is basically a corner route on Y, and when I motion it over, it turns into a post. So if JD mans up Y or triangle from the start, and I run X spot and motion over, again that man up is going to turn into crossman. He's going to completely play my post route. So what I'm going to do to counter that by JD is I'm going to motion him over on a streak instead and look to utilize my other receivers to get open. Because he's really expecting me to motion over triangle here on a post route. And again, so if I motion over triangle here on a post route, again, that's just a wasted play there by me, because again, he's always manning up Y from the start. So what I started to do was motion over triangle on the streak. So he turns into the decoy route, and JD's gonna basically waste an adjustment manning up Y, because again, he's just manning up a streak route, which is really not gonna do too much. So again, didn't work out there, but again, good. I like the thought process here. So what we learned from this play though is, again, we gotta kind of look at what we saw post snap, and again, outside cornerback is in a cloud, strong safety is in a deep blue. And again, look over the middle of the field. Look, he has 2 hook zones over the middle of the field, and look how much ground these hook zones cover. And that's what I meant by like his hook zones play kind of glitchy. Because usually the hook zones kind of just sit in one spot and stay there, but his hook zones were carrying out towards the sideline. And again, he has 2 of them over the middle, so he's really congesting the middle of the field with his hook zones underneath. So again, this is telling me here that I really need to work this deep middle of the field, because again, he's doing a really good job of taking away the short middle aspect of the field. But again, kind of look here at this deep middle; it is wide open. So again, we got to start to again kind of run routes down that deep middle portion of the field, because right now he's playing really aggressive underneath in those short middle portions of the field, and he's also doing a good job of taking away the deep outside and the medium outsides on both sides as well, because he's backing off his flats. So again, I'm gonna bring back this little fade here on Y, because usually it can get outside of a cloud and outside of a deep half. But again, this looked really scary here. Again, that deep half looked in good position, but one thing we noticed all game too is JD really gave up the short left and the short right, because he's dedicating all of his resources here to really defending the medium right, the deep right, the deep outsides, the medium outside. So again, the open spaces on the field here is going to be these short underneaths and the deep middle portions of the field. So that's where we got to look to attack. But really, I want to look to attack the deep middle, because he's basically giving us a touchdown in the deep middle here. Again, cover 2 is going to be weak deep. So we got to look to expose that. If the touchdown is there, take it. There's no need to throw 5-yard passes all game when somebody is giving you a touchdown. So always look to attack. If it's there, always look to attack deep versus cover 2 if it's coming every single play. So again, here I'm gonna make an adjustment later, but I'm gonna try the deep outsides again. Again, you see me putting that Y outside fade. And it possibly could have been open there, but again, we're just looking for this first down, because again, he is giving up these short underneath flats as well. So again, we got to store that information. So again, the short flats are open, and we know that he's been giving up the deep middle on majority of his plays as well. because again, that's all from reading. Um, that's all from reading the defense post snap because we keep seeing, outside cornerback is in a flat, deep half is in a deep half, regardless of which side of the field we're attacking. Again, he's really only switched it up twice this game, so like 90% of the game it's been cover two, and he has not shown us one time that he has a deep half in the middle of the field in cover two. So again, we gotta look to attack that deep half portion of the field, and again, that's exactly what we're gonna do here. It looks like so. Again, here we're going to problem solve and adjust on the fly a little bit. Again, this is not a play call I usually call uh, because usually I'll call verticals with the stock fade on triangle. But again, since he is manning up triangle, again, I cannot utilize triangle to attack vertically. Again, so we gotta attack vertically with another receiver here. So again, I'm gonna go with circle here to attack deep. I know for me, the defense is post snap that he's leaving this deep middle portion of the field open. And we're going to look to send a route down that open space in the field. And again, the problem here with this is, with the route combo setup, is there's only one player, only one receiving threat going over the middle of the field, so he's able to use or guard the touchdown here. Again, this is open versus his cover two zone. Again, you see that this deep middle portion of the field is open here. The problem with that route combo is that there's no other route coming over the middle of the field, so his user is able to commit. So again, I think an adjustment I could have made here is putting my running back on an angle route over the middle of the field, just so he could kind of think about like, okay, man, I got another route coming over the middle, and he might potentially peel off. But since there was no other route coming over the middle of the field, he did not have to peel off here. So again, we're going to make another slight adjustment later in this drive. So again, the adjustment we're going to make here is, again, first step in the problem solving model is, again, the visualization of the defensive player. So again, we know that it's cover two with no one down the middle. Again, we know the open space is that deep middle of the field. Then we got to ask ourselves in the last step is, what routes get to that open space on the field? And again, besides seam streaks, these skinny posts are going to do a really good job of getting to that deep middle portion of the field. And again, since the deep post is not going to run, or okay, let me put it like this. So again, a seam streak is going to run immediately down the seam, so it's going to be easy for a user to see a seam streak running down the middle of the field because again, it's going to cross their face first. Whereas a skinny post on the outside receiver, again, it's going to be a lot harder for a user to recognize that because that's not going to be the first route crossing their face. Also, again, the slight adjustment we're making is we're adding routes over the middle of the field now. So again, the user is going to have to choose: do I go deep middle or do I come underneath? Since again, we're basically manipulating the user by attacking his area of the field with routes at different depths over the middle of the field. So again, here we know that the deep middle of the portions field, but again, here's the difference. If you guys go back and rewind it, again, there was nobody over the middle of the field last time. So again, the user could just commit the whole way to the deep post, and he didn't have to worry about anyone else underneath. So again, the adjustment I made here on the fly was I put a couple of routes on the short underneath portions of the middle of the field. So again, the user will kind of have to respect that, and he bites down. And again, he gives up that deep middle portion of the field, and we're able to bomb him. But again, we get cheated. Oh man! But again, again, same thing with what we kind of hit him with the first drive. Again, we had that deep middle. Again, got unfortunate, but again, that was basically the story here I was trying to show you guys is, again, especially versus these cover two looks, again, you want to be looking to attack it deep, really expose that deep middle portion of the field. Again, I understand. So again, a lot of times you're still going to have those short flats. Again, the left flat, the right flat, open versus cover two. But again, make them feel like they can't run cover two at all. If they're giving you the touchdown, take the touchdown. That was kind of the moral of the story here. Again, And also too, again, it always comes back around. It revolves around that problem-solving model of again visualizing the defense, then identifying the open spaces, and then knowing what routes get to those open spaces.